there's a train a-comin'. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All right, folks, it's on now. I do not know what I did wrong, but I am here. Hello, thank you. Just a second, this is Larry Nichols. Hold your tater. Just 1 second, folks, please bear with me. If you can hear me, somebody let me know. Please let me know, because I had a little difficulty turning up. I'm here without my production sidekick, Alden, today. He had to be gone, and so hopefully he'll be back tomorrow or Friday. So if you're out there and I am on, please let me know. I don't know what I did to get to where I couldn't get on, but then I don't know what I did to get to where I couldn't get, where I did get on. So if I'm on, go figure. So if you're out there and you are hearing me at this exact moment in time, some one of you or a couple of you, please text me at 440-897-0611 and let me know, please. This is Larry Nichols, and this is Nichols Live, or trying to be Nichols Live. Now this is scary. Nobody is saying, hello, are you out there? Can somebody tell me if we are on? Do you hear me? Somebody, knock, knock. Do you hear me? Are we on? Okay. I don't have any verification that we are on, which makes me wonder if we are on. Let me see what I got here. Please be. We can hear you. Oh, thank God. All right. Thank you, listener. Thank you so much. That big load. Now we're in the game. All right, folks, you're listening to Nichols Live, and I'm sorry about the little problem starting out. Now, let me give the number in case you've got somebody. I got word here from Chris. You are on live. Thank you. Got word. You're live. Got it again. Thank you. So it is getting out. If you want somebody to listen, here's the listen line number, 401-283-6754. That's 401-283-6754, and be sure and tell them that when they get there to press 1, because we're on Channel 1 of Leading Edge Radio Network. And once again, we should always thank Greg and the good folks at Leading Edge for letting us have this time to meet. If it weren't for them, we wouldn't be here. So today's Wednesday. What on earth is going on today? Now, I could tell you a million things that are going on, many of which you know about. Many. But by the way, I'm going presently through a pretty severe thunderstorm, so if for some reason I get knocked off the air, don't panic. It's just the storm busting through. Bad weather. Everybody that knows me, most of you know me, know that when I get ready to come on the air, there's one thing that I assure all of you. And I probably should do it, so it's not a strong, good thing that I do, or should I say don't do, but it's just the way I am. I do not prepare for this program. I talk to a few people as people call in, and maybe a subject or so gets brought up, but technically I don't know what I will talk about when I come on with you. I really don't. And that might be a handicap, except this is my way of keeping the program honest. Now, just this morning, I heard a video, just a little bit of it, sent to me, talking about Venezuela. Venezuela, they have to use their thumbprints to get food, not to cash a check like here, not to get money, to get food. Does anybody know why that is? Why in Venezuela do you have to give a thumbprint to get food? Well, without giving you time to answer, I'll answer it. Because the government in Venezuela has nationalized the groceries, the food people. They've nationalized them. And the purpose behind that is that when you fall under communism, socialism, the type system Hillary and Bernie Sanders want us to be under, when you get to that system, the government regulates everything. You know, you get so much allocation for food. That's all you get. Black markets run wild. So you have to prove who you are, and the records have to be kept. And if you got your food allotment, you're done. You're done. Now that's coming here if we don't stop it. Coming here if we don't stop it. Now, banks, yes, they're going to nationalize the banks. Trust me. The banks are going to be nationalized. And come about November 15th or 16th, you're going to find out, contrary to what we've been told, you're going to see the first step completed in nationalizing health care. See, right now, health care is nationalized, but it's not formally proclaimed that it is. Doctors still feel like they work for themselves, and hospitals, etc. But November 15th or 16th, that too will change. Unless we win. Unless we win. Venezuela, Bolivia. Why do we care if Central American countries collapse and fall into this ravaged, broke, bankrupt condition? Why does that matter to me and you? Because personally, I ain't got nobody lives down there in my family. I'm of the firm belief that all of these countries, you've got problems, you need to resolve them. But they don't. You know what they do? They work their way up and come up here. So now we've got another whole batch of refugees coming into this country from Central America. And every time one of these countries starts to bobble and fall and fail, it increases the number of illegal immigrants we've got coming in here. And if America were a boat, this boat is about overflowing, and it can't really hold anybody else. To give you an example of that, Donald Trump was speaking in New Mexico, someplace in New Mexico, I don't know the town, city, and outside there was this protest that became violent. We've seen protests go violent before. There was much made, or some made, not a lot I guess, but some has been made about the fact that the police were not as forceful in disrupting it as those most would have thought they should have been, but they just didn't. And then, oddly enough, the people that got hurt from this overzealous protests turned out to be all law enforcement officers hit with rocks, sticks, and clubs. And there was something in those riots, those protests that turned into riots, there was something I saw that as yet today, not one pundit, not one media person has mentioned, but I saw it. Did you? Oh, it was significant. It is significant what I saw. Again, let me answer it without you having to try to text and get in. What I saw at this protest were protesters, and they were holding up flags, national flags. But you know what, guys? They weren't American flags. It wasn't the Stars and Stripes. No, sir. What these people were holding up was Mexico's flag, the Mexican flag. Now, are you kidding me? Here in the United States of America, a man is running for president, whether you like him or you don't. He has a right to run. He has met the requirements to be able to legally run for the office of president. And Lord knows we in this country believe still that we have the right of free speech, so he has a right to speak. And the people that want to have a right to come hear him speak. But there's one group that showed up to stop him from speaking, and they wasn't even from this country. Or if they may be living in this country, but they're flashing the Mexican flag. What do they want? Huh? What do they want? I have for a long time wondered if Mexico was so great that they want to hold on to their heritage and they want to wave Mexican flags. If it's so great, why are they here? Why? I mean, if you're that proud of your home country, which most everybody has a right to be, then why are you here? And why are you here protesting someone in this country exercising something that most of the people in Mexico and Venezuela, Guatemala, all these other countries down there, they're going to tell you what they can't do. They cannot meet. They cannot speak out openly. The government of Cuba, the government will shut them down, put them in jail. They come here seeking the freedom of America. And yet, when they're here, what are they doing? They're trying to shut down someone's ability to speak. And why? Why? I do not believe for 1 second that there's a one of those damn Mexicans, those wetbacks, proudly banishing the Mexican flag, trying to stop a lawful American from exercising free speech and running for president of the United States. I don't believe they're there to promote the American way of life. And they're not there to stop Donald Trump. Not for the reasons you would think. They're there because they fear Donald Trump will make them have to abide by the laws of this land. And they don't want to abide by the laws of this land. They don't want to, folks. They don't want any part of our laws. Then I was informed that yesterday, I think, was the single biggest day that we had vetted Syrian refugees. Obama's little plan to have 10,000 of those creeps in here by 9/11. I think it was 100 that they had passed through yesterday. They're not coming here to be a part of the American experience. They're not. They're coming here with the full intention, now I'm saying if, they're not here to blow us up. If they are not terrorists already, coming with specific missions planned, they are at least coming here expecting to be ruled by Sharia law, a law which in this country does not exist. All right, it says here from Greg, Wednesday's numbers are better than last week and slightly ahead of Monday. Greg, if you would, send me the number, please. Actually, send me the number of listeners, just so that we know. Sharia law. Now, why on earth, if you were coming here, going through the trouble of escaping Syria to come to America, begging the American people to grant you asylum, why would you dare come here and try to force upon this nation Sharia law? Why? See, that's where it's all wrong, guys. I've gone through all this trouble to tell you all this stuff just to say, these people that are here, when we refer to immigration today, it's not immigration like we've known it since the greatness of this country began. It isn't that. People that came here in the early days of our country, they couldn't wait to get here. They could not wait to be able to learn our language and to assimilate into our culture. That's right, assimilate into our culture and grow and prosper, which is what this country would allow someone to do if they worked hard. That's not the immigrant of today. It's not. Now, it is some, of course, yes. But the vast majority of immigrants coming in today, here we go again. Here we go again. They are here to have things their way. They're here to take this nation, steal our jobs, steal our ability to feed our families, and in many cases, take the money and send it home. If you don't believe that, look at Cuba. Obama goes to Cuba. What does he do? He normalizes relations with Cuba. Well, wouldn't you think that would make everybody in Cuba happy? Wouldn't that be the thing that would make all these Cubans that are sick of Cuba and Castro and are coming here, wouldn't that make them happy? Well, guess what? It didn't. Did you see today? It didn't make them happy. You know why? This'll get you. You see, wet feet, dry feet. The rule we've had with Cuba all these years, if you could get on American dry soil, then you were safe. And guess what? When you got dry feet, when you were safe to be in this country, boom, here comes the welfare checks. Here comes the money, the food support, housing support. Here comes all these monies, just as if you were an American. Except Americans don't get it. Or at least if Americans get welfare and all this, they've got to jump through several hoops. These people just had to get to this land. Just get here, get on dry land, and immediately all of this money and stuff came to them. Well, guess what? Normalizing relations with Cuba has slowed down that money. And guess what? Those Cuban refugees that all they wanted was to come to America and be able to live the American dream and work and participate and assimilate in our culture and to get away from that mean old Castro government. Guess what? Guess what? It's not what they wanted. It's not that much fun if they don't get to make all this money just by being here. You see, when I was growing up, my parents always told me, look, hey, we don't have a getting tree in the backyard. We just go get what you want. We just get the money. We don't have one. Well, to so many people in the world, they think America is just a getting place. Just go there and you get all of this money just for being there. Does anybody know how much the Syrian refugees get just for being here? By the time all things are counted, counting living money, Social Security, welfare type, counting food stamps, counting availability of health care, just by setting foot in this land, they get somewhere around $5,000 a month, which, by the way, guys, is more than I get, or you get, I bet you. And these are people that's the only reason they're coming. Except in the Syrians' case, there's another reason. They're coming to kill us. They are coming to kill us. I may have told you, but I'm going to tell you again. Bill Plant, I think is his name. He's a talk show host. And he told yesterday of a CNN special that's going to be out. The title of it's called Why They Hate Us. Why They Hate Us. And part of that Why They Hate Us movie or special. Let me get to this. I forgot to do it. Folks, I need your help. I've missed the commercial time. Got a little carried away. Thanks to Alex Jones's program and some monies that have come in, I have to raise today $265. So, will you please go to PayPal, please? Someone go now and kick it off. Go to PayPal. Look, we're just shy of 6,575 people listening, 6,575. Please go to PayPal, and it's nicholslive@aol.com, or go to my Facebook, Larry Nichols, Conway, Arkansas, and there, punch a button, yellow button, I believe, and you can use your debit card, credit card, whatever. But I've got to get, before this program is over, $265, which is better than $500. At least we're ahead. At least we are ahead. Anyway, Plant was talking about this documentary, Why They Hate Us. And one of the parts of that documentary, I hope you are sitting down, they were saying that this whole thing of the 72 virgins, if you go blow up infidels and die in the process, you are martyred. And the Quran has said for hundreds, thousands of years or whatever, if you die a martyr's death, you get 72 virgins. That's what we've all heard. That's what I have heard personally from mohairs. Well, in this documentary, there is a woman who is supposedly saying that all of these Islamic scholars said that lakin, or whatever that word is, in the Quran does not mean 72 virgins. The word means raisins. So if you go blow yourself up and kill yourself killing infidels, and die a martyr's death, this woman and the scholars, who are not named, by the way, are out to convince us that all they're going to get in Allah heaven is 72 raisins. 72 raisins. Now, I can't believe CNN, albeit CNN being as far to the left as they are, albeit CNN for whatever it is. You may like it, you may not. I cannot believe CNN or any other entity trying to pass themselves off as some kind of legitimate news organization would dare to put something this stupid out there. Would dare. But their plant played the clip of it. And here was the woman. The Quran doesn't say for dying a martyr or being made a martyr. You don't get 72 virgins, you get 72 raisins. First I laughed about that and thought it was funny, thinking about all the mohairs that I've assisted, me personally, that I've assisted meet no Allah, that probably went happy knowing they were going and getting their 72 virgins, and I got to think, wouldn't that be funny when they got there and they got a handful of raisins? It's funny at first, and then it ain't funny anymore to me. It's not. Because that shows you how little they think of us, that we would be that stupid as to buy into that. You see, it's just another case, another example of where the media is complicit and trying to dumb us down, make us buy into some of the most incredibly stupid things on earth, so that we're not the America and Americans that we should be. I swear it to you. Makes me mad. CNN. CNN, you cannot put that out and offend the people of this country. Not to mention the risk you put the people of this country in by putting stuff like that out, and their people believe it, so therefore they're not aware or worried about the Muslims, because, see, this whole 72 virgin martyr thing's not real, so we have nothing to worry about. We've got something to worry about. They're coming here. 25%, according to their own group, CARE. 25% of this, well, yesterday if they brought in 100, 25 of them are here for one sole purpose: kill us and kill our children, kill our grandchildren. Joel, good friend, listener to this program, sent me a picture of his brand new grandbaby. Such a beautiful child. Such a great, proud grandpa. You see, folks, I'm honor bound to protect that child. Me, I am. Are you? Are you? You should be. We should all be. We should all feel the responsibility every time we see a baby in this country. It's up to us to secure that child a future. And I'm not talking about a future where they're rich. I'm not talking about that kind of future. I'm talking about a future where they're free. Where they are free. Where they get to live their life, hopefully better than we were able to live ours. That's what we're supposed to leave them. That's what our job is supposed to be. And to this point, we failed terribly. So there. When you hear the special about why they hate us, Be careful if you want to watch it, just know it's bunk. I know from living with them, they believe deeply that there are 72 regions, deeply. I mean, I'm sorry, 72 virgins. They truly do. Now, to all of our Muslim enemies, let me say, as much as you're an enemy, you're still a fool. There ain't gonna be no virgins in hell where you go. There ain't gonna be none. Where are we? The alarm bells are sounding everywhere. Everywhere. Venezuela, that's pretty close to home. The collapse of Venezuela, maybe we don't go in and bail them out. They'll come here. When they get hungry enough, they'll come here. And they'll come here and do what they got to do so that they can make money and then turn around and send it back to their family left starving back home. They'll come here. And then all the other, Guatemala, all the other countries, as they start collapsing in, you know what? They'll come here. They'll come here. And every one of the countries that sends more people to this nation put a burden and a strain on our nation that we just can't pay anymore. We just can't fund it. We just don't have it. In case you have forgotten, our debt is $20 trillion minimum at this point, thereabouts. 20 trillion. Number I can't even figure how many zeros there'll be. Can't even figure it. And we are not going to reduce, I assure you, we will not reduce that debt by 1 penny when we bring in more of these illegal aliens coming to live the dream that they come to live, which is to just live off of us. Come here and let us pay them. And in addition to us paying them, they come here and they take Americans' jobs. What do we do? I know you're saying it. I know every one of you out there is wishing it. What do we do? Well, going to my second commercial, part of what you do, if you're listening to me now and nobody's even texting me, so I don't know if I've gone off or if I'm on or whatever. Normally I got 10 million questions and statements. But folks, I thought we would have it easy today since we were ahead at the $265 instead of $500, but nothing has come in. Please, if you're out there, I need it to stay strong enough and able to be on here doing this program. Please. The way things worked out Monday, where I didn't get it, but then it came in later. The problem was that by the time it came in, it was too late to get the treatment. So I got it yesterday morning early, and then I got yesterday afternoon's treatment. But by that time, some damage had been done, which makes it bad on me today. So please, I thank you, Carla and Chris, and several people said I am on. It's just, I guess my subject matter is just not very interesting because people aren't texting or commenting, but that's just, like I said, this is just the way this program is. I can sit down here and pick any of a myriad of things that I see as signs, as indicators of where we are and what we're fixing to have happen. I was informed this morning as well that Puerto Rico, that lady's commercial where she's begging the American people to tell our congressmen and senators to help them, bail them out. Because if we don't bail them out, that government, mean old Puerto Rican government's going to come in and take all of her money out of the bank that she has to live off of. The thing that's going to happen to us. And for some reason, they think we should bail them out. Look, I don't want those people in Puerto Rico to hurt. But it's just to the point where we can't do anymore. When we saddle up as a nation to Puerto Rico's debt to bail them out so their people don't lose their money, we lose ours. We lose ours. You're adding billions to our already 20 trillion debt. How do you like that? And although I cannot see $20 trillion what it looks like, I assure you this, Joel's grandbaby just born, my grandkids, yours, they're going to see it. They're going to see what it meant to us that we didn't notice, because they're going to have to pay it. And it's a price that, to be quite honest, we cannot pay. You know, when I look into the future, guys, and I think of where I've been, the countries, the battles, the wars, the overthrows of governments, the collapse of governments, and I've seen that stuff in real life. One thing is for certain in all of those cases, at some point, blood will be shed. Blood will be shed. And I don't believe it will be mine or yours directly. But our kids and grandkids will see the day blood must be shed to try to do what? Just to get us back to where we're supposed to be. Where we, you and I, have got to fight because 99.9% of this population don't get it and don't care. That's our job. Make them get it and make them care. See, things are going on all over. Watch them. Look at them. There was another thing that I heard just a blip of, and it was some guy, his name is Rogers, who is a crony of Soros, George Soros, the guy that wants to overthrow America. But he's some kind of financial guru. And I will ask that his little thing be put on my Facebook so y'all can all go and see what he says or hear what he says. Put it up if you would, please, if we can. Because here is somebody, not me, other than me, some guy in his 80s, I suppose, who is some business whiz, financial genius. But what's significant when you hear him speak? He's saying the same things we are. He's talking about this thing is on us. This collapse is imminent. It's not possible. It's not maybe someday. It is imminent. It is on us. It is on us. So, we must fight. We've got to do our job. And at present, our job is simple. Invite people to come here, please, which you have been doing, and it has been successful. When we can get 6,575 approximately on listening to this program on a Wednesday. That's good on the internet. Now, I know some of you, let me just get something cleared up right now. Get a drink of water to try to can't drink water, but I can put a little water in my mouth and swirl it around. Let me get something straight. When you hear these numbers, 6,500, you think, well, gosh, that's not many. Because all you hear about, with all these people that have these programs, they've all got millions of viewers, millions of listeners. That is not true. Very few programs. I'm going to say Alex, Jeff Rentz, a couple others, maybe Glenn Beck still. I don't even know about him anymore. But all these people, Beck and Rentz, they've got real good-sized audiences. They've got 20 years plus and growing the audience. Y'all listen to them, or to at least Alex. But most of these people that are out on the internet doing talk shows, they have got 1 million listeners per whatever day or what. And they say, but most of them are overseas. Let me tell you why that is. You can actually, for like $99 to somebody in India or China, you can pay them, and then they can have it look like, however they do it, they can get like to where it looks like 1 million people have been listening to your program. You can buy that size audience. They don't really listen. I don't even know if they're real names, but that's what it looks like. We're on when Alex is on. We're on when Limbaugh's on. We're on when Beck is on. So, I mean, we're up against the giants in the alternative industry. We are. Yet we still have 6,000 plus, and we're going to get to 10,000. Folks, those numbers in the world of internet radio, or whatever you want to call the internet stuff, those numbers are huge. And I'll tell you something else. 6,500 is close to where we need to be 10,000. And at 10,000, I will give you victory. I will show you at 10,000 in our army. I will show you victory. Now, will we win it all? I don't know about that, but I can show you where we will affect change, and it will be changed the way it needs to be, not the way they want it. But it takes 10,000 to pull the magic numbers as I figure it. So your job is to invite people to come listen. Your job is to also seek out the truth. Be careful when you get somebody. Be careful about loading them up with crazy stuff. Let me give you an example of crazy stuff that's out there. I shouldn't, but I'm going to. There is a woman who is now on YouTube who claims she killed Vince Foster. She is obviously certified delusional. But I fear, because Trump dealt with the issue of Foster. Remember, Donald Trump didn't bring up Vince Foster. The Washington Post set a trap to get Trump to have to talk about Foster. They brought it up. He just responded. So now that Trump's out there having to talk about, and the discussion is Vince Foster, and of course all the pundits say, well, that case is a nothing, it's just weirdo nutbags talking about it because it was proven, he committed suicide, everything was just like they said. No, that's not true. The pundits are doing their job, making these people that never heard of it think it was just a case that's been solved and we're all crazy for even talking about it. But to add to the looniness of it, here comes this woman who I think is clearly delusional, and she claims she killed Vince Foster, and that Nancy Pelosi and Hillary were in the room when she did it, and that she, after she killed him, she ate his calf on his leg. His calf? Yeah, claims she did, but here's the part about that that's creepy. She mentioned me, said I was in the room too. That's right, she claims I was there as well. Then she went on to say that she had killed a lot of people. She had offed a lot of people, and then she mentioned me again and said I offed a lot of people. Now think about, how would you feel if it were you, if you were me? If you were me, how would you feel when some wacko person like that is making claims like that and she knows your name? She knows my name. Somehow embedded in her mind is my name. I got a call from Kim Chaney. He's fixing to do a show, I think, this Sunday. You ought to listen in. Christian program. He'll be on Leading Edge, I think, 8 o'clock Sunday morning. And he was talking to me, and he said, "Your people all over the world know who you are." Guys, that's scary. That's scary when people know who they think you are, not who you are, who they think you are. Y'all know who I am. Y'all are as close as anybody to knowing who I really am. But Kim Hankey, I said Cheney, Hankey, the Hankey brothers construction, anyway. Kim Hankey was right in that people know who I am. They just don't know who I am. And so I get to be made fun of. I get to be called all manner of things. It's tough. That's not a good way to be. Now our last commercial. Whoops. I did something wrong. Forgive me. Hold on. I hate to do this, but here we go. All right, folks, we've got 13 minutes, and there's not 1 cent has come into PayPal. Please don't do that today. Please. I've got to have $265. Please come through with it. An hour after this program, I have to go over and get my treatment. If I don't, there's likely as not a chance they're going to throw me out of the program that I'm in. Now, yesterday I talked with Bob, the Robert that helped so much saving this program, and I told him something, and he said I should share it with you, so I am going to do it. I don't know if it's right to do or wrong to do. But I had hoped when I go over today to get the treatment, they had discussed that if I could go a couple of weeks with my lab and everything looking like it had looked in the past few days, that we might be able to go to the half schedule. Wouldn't that be something? Instead of $1,200 on Friday, $600 instead of $500, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it'd be $250 instead of $800 on Friday, it'd be $400. Thereabouts, those are the rough numbers. Wouldn't that be something? If I can just maintain and keep my vitals where they are from having several days now where I have been on schedule with the treatments. I mean, the treatments do work. Help me today. Help me. Because if I go in and get the treatment and my vital signs are standing and staying where they've been the past couple of 3 days, there's a chance I can get to that. That's what I'm striving for. And then hopefully I get to the one where all the other 16 people in the or 15 that are in the program still, where they're at, which is going like instead of every day, instead of going every week, they're going once a month for upkeep. Please help me get the $265 today. Now, with 11 minutes to go. Please. I want to reduce the treatment. I want to cut it back. I will make it somehow if we can cut it back. I gotta make it somehow. But I cannot ask that question when I call them, I tell them I couldn't raise it today. So, somebody listening to me right now, please kick it off on PayPal. $265 is what I'm short. $265. Please help. One other thing, Obama went, hold on one second. From a listener, Larry, I got hit really hard yesterday. Right now I can't help. I'm so sorry to say this. I know, Carla, you've done well above enough. You've done well above enough. And I understand, folks, that every day y'all can't keep doing, some of you that have done. But I'm just asking those of you that have not, please help me today. One last thing I want to talk about today. Our black Muslim poor excuse for president is in Japan. One of the first things he did was apologize to the people of Japan for us dropping the atomic bomb on Hiroshima or Hiroshima, however you want to call it, and Nagasaki to end World War II. Now, I do hope all of y'all listening to me understand. That was the first use of a nuclear weapon in this world, first time. The results were tragic in that it killed a lot of people. A lot of people. But before we go apologizing to Japan, people need to know what the Japanese did. What the Japanese did to the people of the Philippines, of Guam, of China. Talking about genocide. Look what the Japanese did to our soldiers that were forced to surrender. They were not held by the Geneva Convention for how to treat prisoners. I mean, their way of life was hard, tough, inhumane. But even with that, I would remind Obama, you better know what you're talking about before you go apologizing. Let me say this. In my racket, when I was on missions to save and rescue people, there was one rule. You know what that rule was? That rule was you never know how many you saved. You only know how many people died. You never know how many you actually saved. You only get to know how many were killed. And that's not fair. Well, when you start looking at dropping the atomic bomb on Japan, maybe you should look at what had happened had Truman not done that. Already our nation was weary of war. It had gone on for 4 long, hard years. And it is clear by most Japanese of that day, and even scholars of today, that had we not have dropped that bomb, the ships were in place, the invasion force in place. Thank God somebody sent PayPal. Oh God, Bob sent the money. Good God, y'all, please send $265. Some of you, all of you, please. And I want to send it back to Bob. He's done it every time. It's not fair. It's not right. Thank you, Bob. You're godsend. But anyway, if we had not have dropped that bomb, we would have invaded Japan. Do you have any idea, instead of 50,000 lives in Hiroshima, do you have any idea how many people would have died invading Japan? And I'm not just talking about the soldiers. I'm talking about the citizens, the men, women, children. Have you any idea, Obama? And sometimes you've got to make hard choices. Wars that just go on forever. Oh, kind of like what we've got in Iraq and Afghanistan. They just drag on forever. And you know what happens? More and more people die continually. Over and over, they die. They die. Instead of getting in and winning and leaving. perpetual war is not good. It's not good. It's not good. So don't go apologizing, Obama, because I can value how many lives were saved, one being of which my father and my father-in-law, they were both on boats ready to attack when the bombs dropped. There's a good chance I wouldn't have been here. Many of you would not have been here. Your fathers were the same. And to the people of Japan, we didn't start that war. Y'all did. You did. And still in all, we saved thousands upon thousands of lives, of Japanese lives, in addition to Americans, by dropping the bomb. And may I say, that bomb, or those two bombs being dropped, Obama, if you can hear me, you black lying Muslim creep, those two bombs being dropped have saved countless thousands or millions of lives since that day, because it provided the threat of nuclear war and mutual self-destruction, which has limited the use to a great extent of all-out war. And without the nuclear option, it may be that we would many a time have been in a battle or war with somebody. But once again, he takes great pleasure in going around and apologizing for us being us. And I know what Obama's thinking. The military of that day, the United States of America's military, was predominantly, guess what? White. And yes, I know there were black units, and those units fought and served incredibly. They were inspirations. But they were still treated as second and third class citizens. But they still stood up for this great country. And we owe them, and we honor them. But in Obama's eyes, you know what? Just old white guys. Just white guys. He is out to take the middle class, average American white person and destroy us. Washington has been a willing accomplice in this. They have stripped us of any and all claim to any heritage that we might be proud of, and have made us subservient to every species of weirdness and creepiness that's out there. And I'm talking about the transvestal, gender things, that whatever them things are. And the wetback Mexican illegals, the Syrian refugees coming to kill us, the terrorists that are being brought in here to inflict death on us so that they can get to Allah heaven and get the 72 virgins, not 72 raisins. That's what's that's what this is about, Obama. I know it. I'll say it. I will say it. Stand up tall, all of you. Well, we're out of time. Stand tall and know this. Thanks to Bob and a few other people, I'll be here tomorrow. So with that, folks, let me say good day, but stand tall. Be proud. I am. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I've heard of, one in a lullaby.